Now, fears of keeping kids safe in school only adds to the compounding stress that parents are under. The ongoing pandemic, skyrocketing inflation, war, political division, they're overwhelming for adults trying to raise the country's next generation. Dr. Howard Stevenson has a lot of experience in this area. He is the Constance Clayton Professor of Urban Education and Africana Studies at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm so glad that you are here because it feels like we just have been taking one hit after the other over the last 2.5 years or so. Certainly the uncertainty of the pandemic. Within that came, this sort of racial reckoning for the country, people taking to the streets, demanding better of authority figures, demanding better of politicians. I could even say that it started even before this with the 2020 election, but it's been with the election prior, but it's been stressful to say the least. And now many of us have had our kids at home for the last couple of years doing remote learning, and the kids are asking questions. Can you speak on just how overwhelming things are for parents and caregivers right now?
Yes, it's very overwhelming, and thank you, Anne-Marie, for having me here. It's very overwhelming, and it affects our bodies, our thoughts, and our feelings. And in many respects, some of us need to take notice of, how it's affecting what we're thinking about, what we're fearing, what we're in many respects overdoing or underdoing, and in many ways, we need to get back to reconnecting to the things that matter to us. Despite all the hate, despite all the controversy, reconnect is one of the ways we manage that stress.
I think that also kind of what adds to the stress is the types of parents that we are. That maybe, parents maybe of a different generation would sort of brush their kids off or tell them, this is an adult conversation, don't pay attention. But we don't really have the option nowadays because there are so many different media platforms. We can't just turn off the evening news when the kids walk into the room because they're accessing this information, every time they pick up a device.
Yeah, so the first reconnect is how do we connect to our relationships, and that includes our children. And what are the things that we value, our family, our friendships. And when it comes to our children, how do we talk directly and truthfully to them, right? In many respects, they are watching us. They're feeling what we are feeling, and maybe even more. They watch what we don't say as much as what we say. We've turned our homes sometimes into workspaces. And so it's been unclear what is safe at home for us, just to be a family, just to be caring for each other. That combination might have been great in the pandemic, but it's not necessarily helpful when we're under duress. So reconnecting to relationships and our family and talking directly and truthfully to our children is important. We also have to confirm for them that we love them, that we're going to protect them, and we're going to hold others accountable who don't treat them fairly. So reconnecting to relationships is key to letting our children know we can do something about this.
Ultimately, what do children want to feel when there's sort of one crisis after another happening? And how do you give them that when you, as an adult, are feeling pretty uncertain yourself?
Well, to the first part, I think three things: affection, protection, and correction. Children want to know that they are loved, and that has to be physically and emotionally demonstrated. Protected is they want to know what to do in case things get a little crazy. And they want to know that you have a set of plans and understandings about what you are going to confirm, when you're going to pick them up, when you're going to be there, clarifying what you will not tolerate when other people mistreat them. That's protection. And correction is holding them accountable so that when they are feeling out of sorts, right, and stressed themselves, that you will step to them and give them boundaries that will make them feel safe, not only about what's happening in the world, but what's happening inside of them. And so they are watching us all the time.
That's really fascinating. Because this is an area of your focus, can we talk about sort of the additional stressors on Black, Latino, Asian families? I know that, during the protest a couple summers ago, I was really torn about how to speak to my daughter. Should I take her downtown so she can see what's happening? And ultimately I did, because I wanted her to see, how people are expressing their frustration and what it means, and for her to understand that she was safe, but this is a conversation that has to happen. This is, I feel like, even more complicated for Black, Latino, Asian families.
Yeah, so my research over the last 30 years is called racial socialization. In a nutshell, that means the talk. And what we've
The
learned
talk.
from that research is the more that families talk to children about the hate and the race and what to do about it in the world, racism, the more prepared they are for the stressors of racial hostility, whether that's what we see on the news or what we experience in relationships. And the benefit of racial socialization, we call now sort of racial literacy. Can I see when hate is happening and can I speak to it? So finding my voice is a very powerful strategy to protect not only adults, but children from hostility and the trauma that comes from not addressing. So finding your voice means I can speak to harm and injustice when I see it in others and when I feel it in myself. And we have a strategy that we help for parents and for students that allows us to reconnect to ourselves when we are facing hate. We call it calculate, locate, communicate, breathe, and exhale. And it's about noticing what's happening to us under duress. Calculate is sort of what feelings am I having during this hateful moment, whether it's around race or gender or sexuality. And that would be like, I'm angry and I'm sad at a 10 or a 9. That's calculate. And then locate is where in my body do I feel it? I'm angry on the back of my neck, like my neck is on fire, right? And in fact, it's actually the left side of my neck that's really bothering me around this anger. And that's locate. And communicate is what am I saying to myself? What are our children saying to ourselves when they're facing this hostility? Say, I wonder if I feel safe in this moment. I wonder what is going to happen to me next. We know that these ruminations are harmful, but noticing them means I can do something about it. We've been able to teach people about CLCBE. And after you notice, you breathe in slowly and exhale even slower. That allows you to get a sense of control. You may not control what's happening outside of you, but you can manage what's happening inside of you. And even children as young as 3rd grade can learn this CLCBE technique and make better decisions and make choices about how they want to speak their voice to the hate.
Doctor, that is all really, really good advice that I know parents are going to be able to take away and use. Thank you so much, Dr. Howard Stevenson.
Thank you.